All right, what is up, guys? My name is Ernie,
I'm Jalen.
and welcome to the We Do Not Care podcast. Today, we're going to look back on 2025, listing off our top five movies of the year with some honorable mentions. And we're going to talk about Netflix buying Warner Brothers and what that means for cinema, streaming, and one of
Gaming.
Jalen's favorites topic, yeah, gaming. So, we're going to get into that. We're going to start off with our top five, starting off with honorable mentions. Jay?
Yeah, for animal mentions, I have The Fantastic Four. I thought it was the best superhero movie of this year, and I thought it was a really good story overall. It's I like the direction DC. I like the direction Marvel's heading. If that's the quality of movie that we're gonna be getting again, but it's still not good enough to crack the top five. At the second honorable mention, Demon Slayer. Great animation, just like always, just as expected. Great story, very emotionally pulling. I'm very excited for the next two. I think they will be a lot better. I am disappointed that they will not release it for you to buy on streaming platforms for a whole year. Considering Chainsaw Man came out after and you can already buy it. And the last movie I liked, Companion. It's a movie that I think had a very unique plot as well as really good acting, great tension was built throughout the movie, and the comedy was not forced. It came at a good time when it did come. Do you want to talk about your honorable mentions, Ernie?
Yeah, so my first honorable mention, I'm gonna go with Zootopia 2. I think it was a great success to the first one. I think it does everything that you want in a sequel. And while Disney has been in a slump, I do think that this is one of their better movies that they've come out with in a long time.
Mm.
I think they definitely didn't need to make Judy Hopps that thick. I think that is crazy. Um, I think they know what type of audience they were appealing to there, but we'll leave it at that. And then my second honorable mention is gonna be, I know you're not gonna like this one, but definitely I think it's Superman.
Mm-mm.
It does a lot of things right to set up a universe. I do think it was lackluster in some department, especially the story for me personally. But when you see the amount of stuff that has gone wrong for DC, I think this is a great start. I think they nailed what Superman means to a lot of people, resembling hope. And yeah, I think David Cornsweet has shown that he's going to be the new generation Superman, and I'm excited to see where they go next. Then my third and last honorable mention, I'm going to go with Jurassic World Rebirth. I think that's how you come back after Jurassic World Dominion, which was horrendous. If you're going to do a soft reboot, which it seems like they're kind of doing, I think this is the way to do it. I love what they did with bringing back the hybrids. They brought back some horror elements. I think that was awesome. The cinematography was really pretty. Yeah, I really have no complaints in regards to what it is as a Jurassic World movie. I just don't think it's definitely the top five. But starting off with five, if you want to mention your number five movie,
Sorry, my mute button went crazy there. Um, my fifth movie would be Neza 2. I think it had the best animation that we could possibly get right now in this time frame. It's the top grossing movie for a reason. I think it's well deserved. I do feel like the movie was a little longer than I wanted it to be. I would have enjoyed it more if we maybe could have shaved off 20 to 15 minutes. But overall, I think all the characters are great. I like the villain. Like I like the twist that they had at the end and everything. So definitely recommend it to anybody who hasn't gotten the chance to watch it.
yeah.
What about you? What
Then
is your top? What is your fifth?
so I definitely agree with Neza. You'll see if it's in my top five or not. But for my number five, I'm gonna go with weapons.
Mm,
I think it does a lot of stuff really strong. You can feel the dragging, especially in the first half. After the first half, it just doesn't stop whatsoever.
yeah.
Definitely, I prefer the second half over the first half. I do know that setting up is very important, but it just felt like the same complaint that you had for Neza. I have the same exact complaint for weapons. It felt like it could have gotten there a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
It's a very entertaining movie, very different movie as well.
Mm,
I think can definitely tell why Jordan Peele was very mad that he wasn't involved with this project anymore. I think he would have done great as well, but Weapons is my number 5 movie of the year. How about your number 4?
My number four, I would go with K-pop Demon Hunters. Just the impact that I think it's gonna have with animations, with how much recognition it's gotten. Same thing as Nessa 2, obviously would be in the top grossing movie. I just I think it had great music, and I think it's gonna open up a lot of people's mind about seeing just more Korean entertainment moving forward. Yeah, that's so much as much as I have to say about that one. How about you? What do you have at number four?
So K-pop Demon Hunters, I totally forgot came out this year, and I think it definitely would have been at least in my honorable mentions because, like you said, the impact that it's going to have, I think, is it's going to be awesome. They've already greenlit number 2, I believe, and
Mm,
yeah, just you see them performing at Macy's Day Parade. I just think if you see just the cultural impact it's made, and like you said, as an animated movie, if you would have said this 5 years ago, I think everybody would have laughed.
yeah.
But seeing what it's done, it's incredible. Speaking of, you're saying animated movies, this is what I think live action should be. So coming from an animated movie, now live action, How to Train Your Dragon. I think they just nailed it. I think they did everything that you need to do as a live action movie. I think Disney should take some notes. They didn't change, a lot, but the little subtle things I think they excelled on. I think bringing back Gerard Butler as Stoic was incredible. I forgot the actor who plays Hiccup, but I think he did a phenomenal job as well. And the CGI does not look distracting. At one point, I want to say that like Toothless looked a little bit weird to me in the beginning, but it looks amazing. Just them flying. Obviously, the score was one of my favorite things in the animated, and obviously didn't change it for here. It just delivered on everything I wanted of a live action How to Train Your Dragon. And yeah, that's my number 4. So how about your number 3?
Let me ask you a quick question. You have always been a lot more judgmental about CGI. What is a movie that, in your opinion, before I go into my number three, what is a movie in your opinion that did CGI perfectly?
It's kind of tough to think of one on the spot.
What about Avatar?
I mean, considering that's a great suggestion. I
Hmm.
think considering that movie came out in 2011,
Hmm.
you can still look at that and still be amazed by it. Obviously, going back and looking at it now, you can still point out some things now.
Hmm.
But when you go back to 2011, there was nobody doing CGI like that
No, no,
movie.
definitely not.
Um,
To this
I
day.
just think, yeah, even with Way of Water, I believe the second one is called.
Hmm.
It's gorgeous to look at. I think there's some, for example, not trying to bash a movie, but I think one of the ones that definitely gets, shit on the most is Black Widow.
Okay.
When she's there on the scaffolding, and you can definitely tell that she's just not on the scaffolding or there's no blue sky.
Mm.
I think that's embarrassing coming from such a big studio.
Yeah,
So I f so to me, CGI is important. I like practical effects more. That's why I like Christopher
of
Nolan.
course.
The Dark Knight flipping the truck scene, that being practical, I think holds a lot more weight than CGI. But I do think if you are going to do CGI, just don't be lazy with it. Not to say that people are. I don't know how some of those things get past the production team and think that that's possible for me personally.
Correct. Yeah, and I love when Christopher Nolan built an actual nuke for Oppenheimer. I thought it was great.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure.
And
You felt the radiation in
yeah,
the
man.
movie theater.
um, at number three, I would put weapons. I really like. I understand how the first half can feel slow, but it has a pattern of it showing you different perspectives of different people at the same time. There was a movie I saw when I was growing up called 1114 that had the same premise, where basically there was a car accident that affected five different individuals, and it showed you all their perspectives leading up to that car crash. Weapons just follows that formula, but in its own unique way and its own unique story, which it just kept you guessing the whole time. Why did the kids run run like that? Yeah. Just Naruto running at 2 a.m. in the morning, all of them at the same time. Um, the second half is definitely what sells the movie. It
Yeah.
was exciting. and that's when you start to feel the tension and actually like, hey, I need to pay attention. What caused it?
Funny enough, your number 5 is my number 3 the same way my number 5 is your number 3. Nezal 2 for me is number 3 movie of the year. The animation is beautiful.
Mm,
I understand where you're saying that it can feel a little bit long.
mhm.
I just feel like it's one of those movies that delivered pretty much on everything you want out of a sequel. I think the only thing that the complaint I have for it is, like you said, it does feel a little bit long-winded in the middle when they're talking about like celestial politics, I guess is the word.
Yeah.
Like who gets into heaven and stuff like that. I think that's my only complaint about the movie. But I genuinely think the final scene, the scene at the waterfall, I
Mm,
just it's just so good. I love the villain, like you said. I think it's one of those things where, like K-pop Demon Hunters, where it's like the fact that a not a children's movie, but
mm.
it's the first one felt more of a child movie than this one,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
it's the highest grossing movie of the year. Like that is insane.
For an
Um,
animation, yeah,
I,
unheard of.
yeah, that it's crazy. And if you want to talk about impact for sure, that's going to be up there as well. So that's why it's my number 3 movie of the year. How about you? What's your number 2?
My number two, I'm gonna go with Sinners. I thought Sinners is out of every movie that came out this year. I think my top two are the only ones that were must see in theaters.
Mm,
Sinners was an experience that you needed to see it in IMAX because a TV at home
mhm.
just cannot capture the
Yeah, it doesn't do it
cinematography
justice.
that Ryan did with that movie. But the acting was great. The music was great. You just felt satisfied when you left the theater. No stone left unturned. No more questions about the story per se. He just continues to show why he's one of the best movie directors right now. And I'm excited for his next work. I believe it's gonna be Black Panther 3. Definitely looking forward to that. What about you?
So for me, number 2, The Long Walk.
Oh god.
I think
Oh god.
I have no complaints about the movie.
Hmm.
Like I like I originally told you, I think the fact that you can make a movie about walking.
Mhm.
When I saw the trailer, I was like, this got to be one of the most stupid movies, right? One of the most. I can't believe they just greenlit this movie. I was like, I didn't know anything about the book or anything like that, so I just thought this was just going to be one of those dumb movies that come out. And then I watched it, and it was great. I I think acting top to bottom,
Mhm.
considering at least to me, there's a lot of not well known actors and young actors too. I
Mhm.
think they delivered. I think the story was great. The pacing didn't feel slow to me, considering it is
Yeah.
walking, and and the fact that it's not a movie. Oh, they walk and then let's cut away to something else. No, you are walking with them,
Yeah.
and I think they did just such a phenomenal job directing and showing the you know the pain of when one of the contestants, spoiler I guess, twist their ankle and they're just trying to walk on that ankle. You feel it. It's like gross. It was
Yes.
just yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's nothing that I can complain about this movie. I can't suggest it to somebody, without them being like, "All right, bro, sure." Like
Mm.
it's a movie about walking at the end of the day, but it's so much deeper than that. That ending, I think, was beautiful. I have legitimately no complaints with that movie. If I were to recommend, like you said, these two movies, these top two movies are the ones that I would be like, "Hey, you have to see this one for sure."
Gotcha. The thing about The Long Walk, I think the acting from every person there was great. I loved the way how everybody died in a unique way. One guy died because his ankle broke and he had to walk
Yep.
for. I mean, he walked from pretty much nighttime, like 3 in the morning, to probably like 7 in the morning on a broken ankle. That looked
Yeah.
gruesome. The first person who died, don't want to get in, too many spoilers. But to me, it's a movie that even though I wouldn't necessarily say it has flaws, there's only so much you can do about a movie about walking. Like I think there just needed to be more. Let me try to give you a good example. When I look at 1917, which is my favorite war movie, right? It's a movie about walking, but it's the tension that you build. as they're walking over the trenches, as the plane comes and the guy stabs one of the characters, him going to an area that's filled with the Germans. Like, I don't know, it's The Long Walk is a movie that either it hit or it didn't. I will give it like a 7.5, but it's not because it has anything wrong.
That's
It's
great.
just it didn't have that excitement to it.
But you're comparing a war movie to a contest movie. Like that's the thing.
Mhm.
That's kind of where those two things are completely different. You're talking about planes, you're talking about Germans, you're talking about all this. This is a movie about walking.
Yeah.
This is a movie that if you say 7.5 for a movie that's considered just to be walking and boring to you, I think it succeeded
It did.
because I think for it to be rated that low, I completely disagree with you. But for you
Mhm.
to say, "Oh, this movie is just about walking," and it kept your eyeballs watching.
Mhm.
I think it's done its job. I think it did such an amazing job of just keeping you interested without all the action, like you mentioned of 1917. Acting top to bottom is great. I think the camera work is really good. I think the emotion they sell it so good.
Mhm.
The ending is great. I genuinely have no complaints about that movie.
So, did can we even talk about spoilers here? Like, I don't know.
Well, if you want, let's just put a spoiler warning here, I guess.
Okay,
Spoiler warning for The Long Walk if you haven't watched it.
so the ending, I don't know how I feel about it. It almost feels like it was the only choice, but that doesn't. So the main guy, his whole purpose is to kill the general because he's the one who killed his father, right? And this guy who told them not to do that, not to waste his time, waste his gift of winning. If he does win, he ends up being the one to kill the general. So I don't know how I feel about it.
But that's kind of, I think, the point, though. There's no winning in this. I think that's what the whole point. I feel like the whole point of the movie itself is the rat race. How people get so ingrained of like the 9 to 5,
Mm.
and they don't care if they twist their ankle. They don't care. You know, spoiler alert. But if they need to shit while working, they. But I just feel like there's a lot of, hey, if you do everything right, you can retire like a king. And
Mm.
sometimes that's not worth it. That's what I felt like it was to me. Like it was just a movie about, hey, follow instructions like a good little boy and we'll reward you with what you want. But then you realize the gruesome nature of what is life. And sometimes things don't go your way. And sometimes what you thought you always wanted, at the moment, you just do things based off of emotions. We're human. And so, although you say you kind of feel weird about the movie, I feel like it was just such a good ending because, hey, not everything goes according to plan. And I, I I think the fact that they let him walk away, the soldiers let him walk away, was very telling too. I feel like they were like, this is just messed up, like what we're doing. Obviously, you don't see the soldiers' faces besides the generals, but I feel like the fact that he was able to walk away and live, even though they were like, oh, well, they'll shoot you right where you stand after you shoot the general.
Yeah.
No, like I said, it's kind of like a fuck you to life. No, I'm going to take back what's mine. And that's why I resonate with the movie. I think it's my second favorite movie of the year. And for those reasons, yeah.
Okay.
All right, spoilers done.
So number one movie is this is the year for the anime for me. Chainsaw Man was the best movie I saw this year. Great story, great score, the best animation fighting I have ever seen. Mappa really came to flex in this movie, just show everybody that they are the best company to make an animation. The whole time I watched it, I just could not stop being happy about like and excited about Sukuna versus Gojo when eventually it does happen, but also excited for next time they decide to come out with Chainsaw. I believe if Chainsaw would have had
Pacing?
not well, I wouldn't say pacing, but just the following that Demon Slayer has, I think it could have definitely broke 1 billion. But man, also the best 3D movie I've ever seen. I hate hate 3D movies. I think the only other 3D movie I liked was Alita Battle Angel. We saw it together before the pandemic. I don't know if you remember it, but
Yeah.
yeah, this movie, if you felt so immersed in the 3D, best 3D ever done. I would trust Mappa with any 3D film they make moving forward. What about you? What's number one?
To me, it was your number two. It was Sinners.
Mm,
I have no complaints about that movie. I think it's the closest thing to a 10 out of 10, especially this year. Once again, we are recording this in December, before Marty Supreme and Avatar: The Way of Fire have come
yeah.
out. So this is the top five before those two movies. But I think those are the closest thing to Sinners is the closest thing to perfection this year for sure. The cinematography, the switch to the IMAX camera, the acting was phenomenal. I think, funny enough, the most underrated performance is Michael B. Jordan. Um,
Whoa. Okay. Hot take.
his most No, it's underrated. I genuinely think
Oh,
that because no, 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 not
yeah.
overrated,
For a second,
underrated.
I was like,
Oh,
whoa.
no, no,
He
no, no,
played two
no.
characters, bro.
Under
Like,
No, no, no. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's underrated. Everybody loves to talk about. Oh my goodness, I don't remember the actor's name, but the main vampire. And although he was fantastic,
mhm.
like you said, Michael B. Jordan was playing two characters, and although they felt similar, they were different enough that you can tell it was two different performances.
Without making them, polar opposites as well, by the way. And I think
Exactly.
that's the
That's
hard part.
exactly. Yep. Everybody likes to talk about Jack O'Connell's performance as the main vampire of the movie, but
Mhm.
I do think Michael B. Jordan's acting does go a little bit under the radar. And I think he did great. Obviously, I think Haley Steinfeld did great. Like you pointed out, the music was fantastic.
Yeah.
The cinematography was great. I'm definitely looking forward to more of Ryan Coogler's projects moving forward. But yeah, that's my top five.
And although I am excited for Black Panther 3, I do feel like making a movie for Marvel does shackle you down quite a bit,
Of course. Mhm.
how you put your vision out. Mind you, I think he's still gonna do his thing. He's still gonna do a great job. But
Yeah.
I feel like what I'm really excited for is his next standalone project, like his own thing. So I cannot wait for that to happen.
Well, so that was our top five picks with honorable mentions of 2025 so far. Let's go from talking movies to talking about people who control what we watch. So Netflix is buying Warner Brothers about $95 billion. And now Netflix owns DC, HBO, CNN, Cartoon Network, and a huge chunk of gaming. So, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about the fact that Netflix is outside of movies because it's already done. They are aggressively trying to get into the gaming market. So I believe with them having control of something like the Nemesis system, they're going to utilize that, something that Warner Bros. Was not doing, and something that as a gamer was quite frustrating. You don't allow other people to use it because you patent the thing, but then you also don't use it yourself, even though it's one of gamers' favorite game mechanics. The fact that somebody can just come back and be stronger and remember you and stuff like that just makes the game a lot more exciting. I think that's something that could have been implemented in Cyberpunk, and I think that could have made the game even better. Um,
Yeah.
Even Ghost of Tsushima, things like that. Red Dead. Could you imagine? You fight an outlaw, and then 3 towns later, hey, remember me, Cowpoke? And then now you're fighting off a whole gang again.
Yeah.
Yo, like that would have been fun. Um, so I'm just excited about that they're gonna get to like you know just push forward with that. When it comes to shows and movies, we've seen what they've done with Stranger Things. We've seen what they've done with Squid Games and the budget they put into these things. I want them to keep James Gunn. I don't know if you're aware. I think they dropped a Lobo trailer.
No, Lobo is in
Lobo's
Supergirl. I
okay.
think that's what's
That makes more sense because I'm
yeah.
like, mm. I think Netflix will put a lot of money into those type of things. Oh, maybe we get a Mortal Kombat show with high quality, not just the movies. Although the first movie did pretty good, and I'm excited for the second one coming out. But what about you? How do you feel about Netflix?
You said something that's very interesting, that Netflix is aggressively trying to get into gaming. I think that's a good and a bad thing, because aggressively getting into something doesn't mean it's gonna be a good quality. And to me, I feel like knowing that they just inherited a bunch of franchises rather than creating their own kind of scares me. They could have control of the Arkham games moving forward,
They do.
and yeah, not they could, they
They do.
do. Same thing with Mortal Kombat, like you said. Inheriting all these franchises is a good and a bad thing. Just putting money in a product doesn't make it good. For example, look at Expedition 33. All of those people were working for Ubisoft. And the fact that they went and tried to get this game out there, but they're like, no, 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 that's not going to make money. Just go with the flow of things that what we're doing. So part of me is scared. I agree the Nemesis system is one of the greatest systems that we never got to see again.
Hmm.
But that once again, that doesn't mean it's going to be a good thing. I think it'd be very interesting to see what they do because aggressive, look at Call of Duty, they've been uploading the same, game every single year pretty much.
Yep. And people keep buying it
Yeah.
every single
E-
year.
e-
You can't blame
exactly.
them.
No, no, I'm not blaming them, but I'm saying in terms of personal reasons, I don't know how excited I am for the gaming side of things. I would have to see what they actually drop. In terms of movies and shows, I'm definitely more excited for the show aspect rather than the movie aspect. I hope they don't Netflix it in the sense of, hey,
Hmm.
we have our own people. They're going to take control from now on. I don't think that's the best way moving forward. I do think if James Gunn is still willing to work with Netflix and, they let him create the movies he wants to create. I don't think this is something they should be like, well, you know what, James, we actually have a lot of reshoots that we want to do. No, I think that's the wrong way to go about it. If you don't agree with the vision, sure, but don't get somebody because you have somebody. No, you got to play this smart. I think this is an exciting but also kind of scary time for DC. Superman was very mixed. I don't think anybody had a problem with Superman themselves, but the actual movie was very hit or miss. It seems like a lot of people are like, "Oh, this is very Guardians of the Galaxy," and it feels like that's kind of the direction they want to go with Supergirl. I don't know how that's going to play out. So if Netflix wants to reset the DCU with already just started, I feel like that's going to be very interesting. But the show aspect of things, man, I'm excited. I just hope they don't mess up Penguin because see, they have Penguin now,
Yeah.
and they better not touch Penguin. With DC, you have so many different things you can do. An Arkham series. I think having Victor Zsasz, Calendar Man, Killer Croc, all these different villains that being in your category, and you have the budget to do whatever you want with those villains is awesome.
Yeah. When it comes to James Gunn and just the DC universe, I was not the biggest fan of Superman. I think I can agree with you that I think he is the best Superman we've had in a while. I like Henry Cavill, but he was just way too emo for me to really
Yeah.
feel Superman.
Mhm.
I think DC suffered from the success of The Dark Knight. Having that type of superhero movie, they wanted to
Yep.
follow that formula
Mhm.
with everything else, and that's wrong. That's Batman. That's okay with Batman. You know, that's okay with somebody like The Punisher, just to bring it to Marvel. That's not okay with Superman. That's a guy who's supposed to bring hope. That's the equivalent of Marvel making a Spider-Man movie in darkness. That makes no sense,
Yeah.
And the one
Mhm.
time we even got close to that, which is Spider-Man 3, we know that's the worst Spider-Man movie there is. When they try and make
Yeah.
it, and we have all the memes from it, but outside of that, like, come on now. How This is something I'm curious about. Now that they did acquire Warner Bros., how do they move about Batman and Superman? Because technically, Batman is not part. At least what they're doing right now with Batman, he's not part
Yeah.
of it. Do you think they'll reset
Mhm.
it again?
So apparently, the plan was for James Gunn had the plan for doing Batman: The Brave and the Bold with hiring a new actor. Apparently, nothing was ever confirmed. I'm interested to see if Netflix just says scratch that. We're putting Robert Pattinson in, which would be interesting. But at the same time, I don't know how those two can coexist in a universe. I would like to see them try. I think Patterson has done a good job. I think they're slacking with getting those movies out. That's just me. Take advantage. Take advantage of the hype that you have. Don't pull a GTA 6. How is this not just getting all the money thrown at it by Warner Brothers? I wonder if
Yeah,
Netflix will fix that problem and be like, hey, we know what Batman represents. Go for it. So,
yeah,
yeah, excited.
absolutely. Is there any hero that you wish to look like they make a movie of in the DC universe, of course?
Honestly, I would love to see Booster Gold.
Okay. Logan
I
Paul
think
as
that
Booster
would
Gold?
I think the cockiness, he has it down, man. I really do. I think he has that cockiness down. It doesn't have to be Logan Paul, but that'd be very interesting. I know the fans would hate it. So I
Yeah.
doubt they would do that. That concept is super cool. The multidimensional hero, I think, is pretty cool. Obviously, we didn't get a good two superhero movies, which was The Flash was horrendous and Green Lantern was horrible
Mhm.
too. That's definitely what I would say. But honestly, what I'm more interested in is what shows would you like to see besides
From DC?
Penguin? Yeah.
Um, yo, as a kid, I love Static Shock. I would
No.
love a live action
That's what
Static
I'm talking
Shock.
about. That's nice. That's
Yo,
nice. I like that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
like
So
that.
I really, I don't think they will, but it's just to throw something out there. Like if I had a wish list. All right. With that, I think we're ready to wrap it up.
All right, and that's a wrap. If you're still here, thanks for checking us out. If you liked it, subscribe, share it, tell your friends, family, and lovers.
Oh
And
wow.
and if you disagree with anything we said, still share it. We want to smoke. Drop your top 5 of this year. Are there any projects that you guys are excited to see, like hoping to see in terms of just movies, TV shows, or gaming? Yeah, just drop all of that below. And until next time, peace.